the criteria and how do you get to become an MVP? And you can explain the process and how did you become and what was your journey towards it?
MVP to becoming an MVP, that is a long journey, Tanuj. I started, I mean, you need to be active on the community first. You need to contribute to our community. So actually, I didn't start my blog. It was like almost 6 years old, my blog. So I didn't start with the intention to become an MVP. Then I started sharing the knowledge, whatever I learned. Then I thought I can share with my fellow members. Then I started writing my blog, even be it simple or medium or whatever complex. Then I used to post it. Then it's almost 5 years, 6 years my blog. Then on top of that, I started the newsletter. You would ask, what is the purpose of newsletter and the blog? Newsletters, now we are getting frequent updates across our technology, right? So that is just to keep ourselves updated with the latest technology, with the latest updates in our technology. I started the newsletter. Blog, it's part of my learning. So whatever I learn from my assignments or something, whatever challenges I face, that I put it in my blog. So it is like if you're active on the community, like you're contributing the community, then somebody from the MVP would nominate you. Somebody has to nominate you. Only
Mm.
then you will be able to give present you as a MVP nomination. So then you need to fill few of these criterias, like what are the achievements, what makes you different from others, that you need to
Correct.
present. And then that depends. So then Microsoft would then select whether you will be eligible for MVP or not. So that is a process here.
And also you can get it nominated by a Microsoft employee as well.
Microsoft employee also, yes.
Okay. Okay.
And the criteria changes every year. Then is like so many people get nominated, and they see whether this person is adding value to the community with various parameters, and the parameters are not fixed every time.
Correct.
So
Mhm.
based on that, they take a decision should give it, and multiple reasons also they see whether this uh, region, like for example, if you see in India, the criteria is little higher, and if you see in other regions, it is bit lower because the number of people doing the activities are high in India, so the criteria is also tough. And if you do in other
Okay.
regions, it is bit easier
Mhm.
because the number of people who try for this is lesser. So it also depends. It's whatever we are saying is our experience, but that's not a fixed criteria always.
Yes,
And
every
you,
year this factor changes. Like, what is the criteria to become an MVP, that is decided by my Microsoft year. So this year, it will be different. Next year, it will be different. So that
Mm.
keeps varying here.
And my another question to you, Anita, is somebody is new to Logic App and want to learn from Sketch. What would be the perfect source for him to get it started?
How I learned Logic Apps. See, first you need to get hands-on with the integration. I mean, the communication, how it is communicated to FNO. I mean, me being being a FNO technical background.
Mhm.
So how I learned, I started with Postman, a simple API, how the message is being passed to API from Postman to FNO and how it is received from FNO. So this flow I understood, and then I slowly pass the same flow to Logic Apps. Logic Apps, we have lots of connectors, right? So it is like in the first stage anyway, you will not get a successful execution. So that keeps a trial and error. And anyway, you have a Azure subscription, free Azure subscription for 1 month or 6 months, I think, it based on the plan what you have. So with that, you will be able to practice how Logic Apps is. You can you can get a hands-on with it. Start with a simple one. So if you are from FNO technical side, okay, like how do I import a customer group from the external source, for example, Logic Apps, or from a file, or from Azure Blob Storage or SFTP. So you have lots of connectors. So and nowadays we have many information from the source. The source is more here. So from each source you will be able to get multiple information. So with that you will be able to practice and get a hands-on on Logic Apps. Try with the Azure free Azure subscription first.
Mhm.
Then you will get to know. And maybe if you're familiar with the Postman, see how it is first working. And then the same logic is applicable for logic apps as well. It is just a API call only, right? Get and post. So that is how I started my logic apps journey.
And
Okay.
hi everyone, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you're joining from. And we're still waiting for the sessions to start. And we have Anita with us as a speaker, and I have allowed everyone to speak. So feel free to unmute yourself and ask questions. And this is Venkatesh joining from Dubai. And this session is being hosted by me, and uh, we are hosting Anita Ishwaran from all the way from UK. And we just took one question from Tanuj on how to become an MVP and how to progress uh, if someone is new to Logic Apps and how to learn things. Anyone else have any questions? We are happy to answer before we go ahead with the session.
So I think nowadays integration is becoming a part of every. You are not a pure technical. You should have some integration knowledge as well. So that is what the current market is expecting. So just give a start whenever you get a chance. So even in most of my sessions, I used to tell some spend 15 to 20 minutes of your time every day to learn something new. So that's okay. Even if you don't progress, also not a problem. So that is how I learned logic apps and other new technologies. At least theoretically, you will know because Microsoft Learn, you have lots of resources there, be it from basics. From if you don't know some topic, go to Microsoft Learn. You will have all the concepts. You will have the courseware there. You can finish the courseware. All this you can do. It is like a knowledge repository.
And also learning is very important because the amount of changes what Microsoft is
Sure.
releasing is very high. And
Correct.
if we don't learn, we are behind.
Yes, and we need to keep ourselves updated. So every
Yes.
time, yeah, that is what, where 15 minutes a day, that is sufficient to keep yourself updated. Okay, this is what is happening in my technology. Okay, it is not only you should get to know about your other the peripheral technologies also here, right? So not only in F1, so what happens in the other side, be it Logic Apps or CE or this one, the Business Central. What is the latest update? What changes does it impact here? So just at least some amount of updates if you have, then you will be able to get survive in our latest updated. It's like it's fast flowing here. Every day you will have some or other updates.
And it's also like, guys, I have a small suggestion here. Whenever you are trying to learn something, right? Don't try to learn on every scenario. For example, there's a Power Apps update on you want to you have
Mhm.
seen, and there's a F&O update. There's a technical side update. Don't put your legs in multiple boats. Focus on your areas and pick whatever you like or what you feel that you want to move ahead in the career that side. So those areas you pick because with the release calendar on the AI side, you cannot focus on everything for sure. And whatever you wanted to do, you have to do it in a one direction so that it works for you.
Yes, as Venkatesh said,
Correct.
learning. Okay, I mean, if you want to get some in-depth hands-on, focus on one. But just to understand what is happening around our technology, that is the learning. So keep yourselves updated. So in that, you don't need to go in depth on that. That is what I we stress here.
These all are our recommendation, and you no need to follow exactly the same,
Yes,
but it's
you
all
can
our
tailor as per
recommendation.
your needs.
Yes, you're free to explore your own ways. Any more questions from anyone? Thanks for Tanuj for your right questions at the right platform.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for your answer.
Anyone would like to ask something? Okay, if nothing, I think we have a good quorum already. Let's start, Anita.
Yeah.
Let me share my screen. Second, please. Give me a couple of more minutes. Some issue with my presentation. I'll fix it up. Meanwhile, you have any other questions, we can take it up. Anita, you want to say something to the community, you're feel free to express.
Okay, maybe so. In between your busy schedule of the weekend, so what made you to join the session? So what do you expect from this session? That is what maybe we can start the topic with that while Venkatesh is addressing the issue.
First
I am
of all,
sure.
as you mentioned, like to keep update with the latest trend, what is going on inside the market related to Dynamics. So one thing is that, and of course, Logic App, because it is the base of integration which is using everywhere for uh, Dynamics. So I think these are the 2 points for me to join this thing.
Okay, so are you aware about the service bus already or?
No, 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 I'm not aware.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, I'm ready. Let me share my screen. Anita, just to check, you're able to see my screen,
Yes, I can see your screen.
the
Yeah.
PPT, right?
Yes.
Thanks everyone. Thanks for joining. Welcome to our user group Dynamics user group Middle East, and this is our session 17, dated 19th October 2024. And we have our speaker Anita Ishwaran with us, joining all the way from UK. And agenda for today is we will do the group introduction and we'll give you little insights about today's session and what is our upcoming session. And Anita will do introduce Anita to you, all of you, and we will take at the end we'll take the Q&A, and we'll also let you know what future updates what we have for the this is for user group and Middle East. And disclaimer: views expressed are from the speaker and do not represent views from them, their employers or Microsoft. And Contoso demo data and lab environments are used for these events. Any recommendations coming out of the session should not be applied to production environment directly and should be at least tested first in a sandbox environment. The session will be recorded on Teams, and if you do not consent to be part of the record session, then this is the good time to disconnect. And we have created this group and we are all the ways in our social media, and you can follow our LinkedIn page for the updates, and you can join our WhatsApp group and a LinkedIn group, and we have our YouTube channel. And if you have any concern or any queries regarding recordings or anything, you can reach out to me via email as well. And we are the group volunteers here, and we are 1200 plus members globally and increasing. And please do connect with us, learn and grow together. And we are focused on Microsoft Dynamics 365. And if you see our YouTube channel, you can see all our past sessions so far, whatever we have done. And Anita has spoken with us earlier as well. on document management system, and you can see her video previously in our YouTube channel, and you can subscribe from the link which is given above, or you can put in the YouTube channel as D365 User Group Middle East. You'll be able to find us. And today's session is on Logic Apps integration using Service Bus. And about Anita, she's 18 plus years of experience on AX 365 F&O integrations. She's currently residing in UK, and she's the author of the blog anitasantosh.wordpress.com. And you can follow her on the LinkedIn link and subscribe to her newsletters using the below link. And you can see her certifications. She is having multiple certifications from Microsoft as a developer, and Power Platform certifications, and fundamentals for Azure and all. So over to you, Anita. And before we proceed for the session, and next session we are planning to do it on 22nd November. And this is with Dhruv Kumar. He'll be talking on electronic reporting series, and we are doing a 3-session series, and he'll be talking you through the scratch of electronic reporting, how to start using and things, and to how to become a pro in creating your own electronic reporting. And this will be a 3-session series. And we also have a very big announcement for the Dubai team and whoever is available on the globally. We are doing AI Copilot Summit in Dubai, and we'll announce you the details and speakers and the registration process, and we'll release the website. And for those more updates on that summit, please do follow us on our social media, and you'll be able to see us. Over to you, Anita.
Yeah,
And
thanks,
congratulations,
Venkatesh.
Anita, for getting the MVP. And happy to see many of our speakers in our user group is also getting MVPs. And it was great hosting you back again here after you getting the MVP status.
Thank you, Venkatesh. Let me share my screen. I will come back on my camera once the demo is over so that there will not be any latency issues.
Sure.
Yeah. Let me know when you see my screen.
Yes, Anita, I can see your screen.
Okay. Okay, so today's agenda is it's about me anyway. Venkatesh had already given a quick intro about me. So and the next is about the Azure Service Bus and its key capabilities, because here our main session focuses on Azure Service Bus configuration using the Logic Apps, and what is the overview and the messaging pattern, and the queues and topics here, queues, topics, and subscription. So these are all the key topics in key concepts in the Service Bus. And what is the benefit of integrating the Logic Apps with Service Bus, Azure Service Bus, followed by a system demo. Plus, I will end the session with the key takeaways. Okay, so this is already done, so I don't need to give another introduction about me. Let us go on. Let us proceed to our topic, Azure Service Bus. So anyway, this is not a new term for the audience here, Azure Service Bus, Event Grid. So these are all the Azure terminologies, what we hear every day. Just to give a quick intro of what is Azure Service Bus. So it is a powerful cloud messaging service designated to optimize the communication between the applications and the services. So it also decouples the application and services from each other, which means that the message, the producer of the message and the receiver of the message need not be online at the same time. So because of this, the system resilience and the scalability will be increased. So with this solution, the business can seamlessly exchange the messages. And it should ensure the reliable and the asynchronous communication between the various across the components of the systems. And this elevates the integration experience by offering, like, you have the concepts like message queues, topics, and subscriptions. So because of this, it will have an efficient message routing, load balancing, and enabling a scalable and streamlined application frameworks. So this is a quick intro of what is Azure Service Bus. I know these are all little high level, but when I complete the demo, you will be able to correlate what is being given in the first introduction topic here. Messaging scenarios. So as you all know, data is transferred between the different applications and services using the messages, right? So a message is you can see the message as a container which has data, metadata, and the data. So the data can be of anything, correct? So maybe it can be either an image or a PDF or a plain text or a JSON or XML, whatever type of message, it can be considered as a message here. So what scenario does it come here? So during the messaging, you transfer the business data, be it a sales or purchase journal or inventory movements, whatever it is that comes as a part of the messaging. Decoupling the application. So because of this, as I already told, the producer and the consumer need not be online at the same time. The producer can send the message at its own convenience, and the consumer can receive the message whenever there is based on any recurrence or any ad hoc request. Based on that, the consumer will be able to receive the messages and read it. So because of this, the system reliability and the scalability of the application will be improved here. Load balancing. So what happens is it will allow the multiple consumers to read the message at the same time. So which means that there will not be any latency or any delay in that. Also ensuring that there is a specific ownership to the message is also given to each consumer. I mean, one consumer need not interfere with the other consumer's message. So that ownership is also taken care here. And topics and subscription. So this is a one-to-one relationship between the publisher and publisher and the consumers. So which means that for one topic, you can dedicate, I mean, you will have a multiple subscriber here. So the subscriber can be filtered based on the messages, what it has to receive. So all those filtering scenarios, what is to be done, I will show it in the demo. Transactions, it allows you to do all the transactions in all the operations in one transaction. See, for instance, you can obtain a message from a queue and you can post the results of processing from one or more different queues, and you can move the input from one message from one queue to another. So all this can be done as a part of one transactions. On top of that, there is a message session also, which means that there is a strict, you can enforce a strict ordering, message ordering, or you can even message defer the message using this messaging session here. Yes, and PaaS. This is a platform as a service. Azure Service Bus falls under the platform as a service. And if just what is platform as a services here, it allows the business to build and deploy the applications without having to worry about the underlying infrastructure. For instance, here Microsoft takes care of building the infrastructure for you if you use the PaaS services. So you don't need to worry about the hardware failures, or if there is operating system to be patched or updated, that will be taken care. Managing the disk space, whether you need to increase or decrease based on the load, whatever you have, that will be done automatically. And if you want to create a log or place a log somewhere, and even the backup handling is also managed, which comes as a part and parcel of this PaaS services here. Queues. So here comes the main concept. What are queues? So queues, these are all the entities in the Azure Service Bus. Queues, topics, and subscription are the main topics which we will be covering here. So queues, they follow the 1:1 messaging pattern. They store and forward the message to a single consumer. Typically, what happens is you will have a message in one order. I mean, this follow a FIFO basis, which means that they process the message in the order in which they receive. For instance, if it is a 1, 2, 3, then the first one will be sent first, followed by the second, and followed by the third. So here, that is the reason here I am saying you, right? The sender will be sending the message. It will be placed in the queue. So the receiver will be able to pick the message whenever, based on whatever the request or the ad hoc request, whatever it is. So it will be stored until the receiving application is available to receive and process them. There is also a concept of dead letter queue. For instance, if there is some error in the message, or if there is something wrong in the message, that will not be sent, right? So you can set a dead lettering message queue here, which means it will be after few days. For instance, you can set it as after 14 days. If there is something still lying in your queue, send it to dead letter queue. So which means that will be further for processing here. You can analyze and then create the message here. And the duplicate detection, if there are any duplicate detection here, then you can also, because for instance, if you send the messages, retry the messages, right? So at that time, you will be able to do this duplicate message check here. Then the topics and subscription. The topics and subscription it follows the publish and subscribe message pattern here. So which means that there is one publisher, and there will be multiple subscribers of this message. So in this case, you can filter the message based on the number of subscribers or the message filters what you are giving here. That can be done. And the topic, you will have a multiple broadcast messages also here. And you will have multiple receivers, or each receiver will have a copy of this message. You can see the subscription as a message, virtual message queue, and you can set the filter and they receive the message based on the specific message types. Give me 1 second. Sorry, I have some issue in my network. So am I audible, Venkatesh, now?
Yes, Anita, you are.
Sorry, yeah, sorry for this disturbance. Give me a second. Let me share my screen again.
No worries.
Okay, do you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, sorry, yeah. So topics and subscription. Coming back to topic and subscription, there will be one topic and there will be a multiple subscription here. Okay, and for instance, the subscriber, you will have create one topic and you will have multiple subscribers for this topic. You can create a filter, and based on that filter, the consumer subscriber will be able to receive the message what is intended for him. So it will not be, you will not interfere with different consumers' messages here. And okay. It is, you can consider the subscription as a message queue, like where you will be setting the filters to receive the specific set of messages. So this I will be showing it in the demo as well. Messaging patterns. So just to give a quick summary of what is messaging pattern. Point to point, it comes under the pattern of for the queues, like you will have a single sender and a single receiver. So that is a point-to-point queues. And this is a publish and subscriber. This comes under for topics and subscription, where you have multiple consumers for one topic, and you will be able to also filter the topic for it. You will also be able to filter the message for it. And as I said, dead letter messaging for any undelivered messages, or if it's a failure messages, then you will be able to send it to a dead letter messaging, be it a topic or a queue. This is applicable. So which will be able to, from which you will be able to again reprocess or analyze the failure for that particular message here. Okay, so what happens? What are the benefits you have when you integrate the logic apps with the service bus? Okay, so automation and the workflow orchestration, because the logic apps can be triggered by messages in service bus or topics, right? So this enables the creation of the automated workflows. So when, for example, when a specific message arrives in the service bus, or when the specific message arrives in the topic or queue, it will be automatically orchestrated. So this facilitates the automation here. And you have various built-in connectors. For instance, you will be able to connect to the service bus topics or queues, and then you will be able to send the messages to a different destinations, for example, SFTP or the Azure blob. So here you have lots of built-in connectors, and every day you are for every update you will be having a different new built-in connectors, and this is a vast built-in connectors we have with Logic Apps. And you have an option to integrate with topics and queues. So with that, you will be able to allow multiple logic apps or other components to process the message in parallel based on the subscription rules. And the trigger options. So for instance, you can use it as on a schedule or in a real-time trigger. You can allow to automatically start the logic apps based on the trigger what you have configured here. For instance, if it can be a real-time trigger, so like as soon as the message is arriving in the queue, you can immediately start the logic apps. Or if you want to process an ad hoc request, even that is also possible in logic apps. error handling and retry policies. For instance, error handling here, you already have the error handling in Azure Service Bus using the dead lettering queue, right? So on top of that, if you want to handle any other additional error handling, then Logic Apps, with Logic Apps also, you will be able to do it. Retry policies. Retry policies in the sense here, like you will be able to send the retry the messages in case of retry the particular execution in case of any failure. So even that is also possible. Of course, the last point is the secure communication. So wherever you wanted to, whenever there is any flow is happening, you need to make sure that your data should be secure, right? So in this case, Logic Apps is using the shared access signature or manage identities. So which means that only the authorized Logic Apps will be able to receive or get the messages from the Azure Service Bus. And even you will be able to use that role-based access control also, like helping to secure the sensitive messages here. So this is just a crux of what is the benefits when we integrate Logic Apps with Azure Service Bus. Let us go back to our system demo. So here I have created a service bus here for our demo. So if you want to create a service bus, you can go to portal. As I said earlier, the service bus, we have a 30-day free subscription for Azure. So with that, you will be able to practice all this. When you create a service bus, there will be ask for the namespace. So here the namespace forms the base because that holds the complete entities. It is a container which holds the entities for the service bus. For instance, I told you about the queue, topics, and subscriptions, right? So all this, it will be created. It will be as a container in the service bus here, in this namespace here. So here you will be giving a resource group followed by the namespace name and which location you are from, and the pricing tier. You should go for the standard, because if you go for a basic pricing tier, then you will not be able to access the topics and subscription. So only queue will be available for you to access. So I recommend using the standard in case if you want to go for accessing the topics and subscription. Rest of the parameters, what is given in this will be as default. So I skip here and I will show you the service bus which I have already created. So if you see, this is the service bus with the namespace here. And I have already told you about the access control here, right? So here you will be able to restrict the access control, who should be able to read or see or view the contents of your service bus here. And the next one is the shared access policies. So this comes by default. Only thing you need to create when you create a service bus, you need to enable this manage whether your service bus will be sending or receiving, which means whether it is receiving or only consuming the information here. So make sure this primary connection string, you copy it, and because this forms the authorization for whatever the connections you make either from the Logic Apps or from the FNO. So this forms the base for all this connectivity, and this is needed here. And if you remember, I told you about the topics and subscription, right? So this falls under the entities. So now we can correlate. So namespace is a container which holds both queues and topics. So these are all the key which forms the base for the service bus. So I have created a topic here. And the topic, you should have a subscriber. So as I told you, topic will be able to send will have a multiple subscribers where it will be able to receive the message based on the filter what you set. So here I have created a subscriber. If you want to create a subscription, just click on the subscription here, and here you will be able to give till what time it has to live, and then you can send it to message dead lettering. So if you enable the dead lettering here, after this 14 days of time, this is a default time. So after 14 days, it will be sent to the dead lettering queue here, dead lettering message here. And even for instance, even if you want to forward this message to a queue or topic, you can enable this. You need to create a name for the subscription, and then you need to click create. So as after that, a new topic will be created. New subscription will be created. So I have created 3 subscription like this. I will tell you what is the purpose of this. This particular subscription doesn't have any filter. So if you remember, I have told you how the filter is working, right? In this here, you have an option to add the filter. This filter, this is a default filter. By default, you will have a default filter. You will not have anything here. So which means that this particular subscription will receive all the messages, whatever you are sending. And this is another filter, another subscription where the filter is applied. If I click on this filter, There are two types of filter here. One is CQL filter, one is correlation filter. So correlation filter, if you select, that would give you the system properties and the key properties, custom properties. So system properties means here you will be able to see what are all the system properties. So in this case, I have given the label or subject with some value. So when my message carries this particular value, when my topic carries this value, then this subscription will be receiving the message. On top of that, this subscription also will receive because it doesn't have any filter at all. So you will be able to see the message in both the subscription. Then the CQL filter. How do you enable the CQL filter? You need to, as usual, you need to add a filter here and select the option of CQL filter. And here you will be able to see sys.label. So here you will have, you would have seen a list of system filters what you have given, right? So that filter values you will be able to give. And if you have a multiple filters here, then it will be concatenated. It will be an AND condition. So only if these filters are satisfied, then the messages will be sent to that particular subscription. So here, as of now, I have given only one label where if my message carries this particular label as CQL filter, then this subscription would receive my message. Okay, over to this one, the logic apps. Here I have created two logic apps. One is for sender and one is for receiver. So here sender is the logic apps which sends the message to the topic here. So this is a simple HTTP request. Here I have not given any particular body. So this would receive any types of request, whatever you are sending. This compose would receive the body. This, how do you add it here is just click here, and here you have an option to compose, and here you can add this one. The compose would receive the body from the previous step. Here, this is the request. From here, it would receive the data from that, and here it will be sending the data to the topic here. How do you add a topic? I can go here, service bus topic. You have a sent message. So how do you decide which topic to select? Let me show you that. Here I will add, and the service bus connection string. If you remember, I have created a connection string here against this, the shared policies. So this connection string you need to copy and paste it here. So this connection string authorizes the logic apps to communicate with the Azure Service Bus. So this is how it is. Let me just go back so that the original logic apps is brought again. Okay, so here the message is, again, I am selecting the topic here. I have created a topic for queue, and I have created a topic for queue and this one, Azure Bus Service for queue and topic. So I am selecting a topic here. The content, how do you select the content? So this is, you have a number of parameters here. So I select a content here so that I can pass the content to the topic here. So how do I consume this particular logic apps? For instance, you can call this logic apps from the external source. For instance, I have kept my this one simple, the example simple, where I am calling this from the Postman. If I go to the, let me keep this run history ready. So this is the Postman what I have created. And if you see, this is just a simple request where I am sending the details of the carrier here. And if I click, here it returns a 202 accepted, which means it is success. And if I refresh, I can see a success run here, which means it has received, it has sent the message. Okay, and what is the message being received? The message what is sent is being received. Now, if I go to the topics here, and if I go to the subscription, the message is already consumed. Here, I don't see any message here. The reason being, it is already consumed by this particular subscription. So if you want to see how it is, we need to verify, you can go to the receiver. I have created a receiver logic apps here. Okay, so where the trigger is when the subscription is, when topic subscription receives a message. So this is my trigger. So as soon as it is received, so here you will be able to select this topic name followed by this subscription name. So I have created 3 subscription, correct? So this is the subscription irrespective of whatever the data it will be receiving. I have not given any filter here. So this would show me the so here this would have consumed it. For instance, if you see the run what I have executed, this has consumed it. The message what I have sent from Postman. This compose message will have this. Okay. So how do you implement the filter here? So here the filter message what I have given here is the first filter. Here the filter what I have given, the label is my filter. So what I can do, I will go to my receiver, okay, because receiver only would carry this particular filter, correct? So I will go to this receiver and add. How do I add it? This is, okay, I will go to the sender, okay, because sender is carrying the property here. Let me go to the sender and here I will be adding. See, for instance, these are all the system properties, right? I am not using the custom properties here. These are all the system properties. So against it, I will be pasting it, my filter. Okay. And I go to this receiver. Okay, and I set the subscription as the one where I have kept the filter. I have not created multiple logic apps here for different subscription just to keep it simple. So I select the topic here again, and now the filter is this filter, the first filter, where it says the filter is my filter here. So let me just refresh it and okay, let me go to the Postman again. I will give it as filter. So this is completed. And if you see this message, if you see, you would have see the message in both the subscriptions. The reason being, this subscription doesn't have any filter, but this subscription is having one filter where I have given it, correct? And if you see the receiver execution, run history, you would see the message what is received here. Compose. So the message what I have given here is received. And after it is consumed, this would move from this particular message. It is not yet consumed. And that is the reason you still see the message count. Why is it not consumed? Because the logic apps which I have created there, I have changed it as the one which the topic I have changed it, correct? So that is the reason it is still retaining in this particular subscription itself. Okay, so now let us go to the SQL filter. How do I use the SQL filter? Here I have given the filter as SQL filter. So what I would do here, I will go to the sender and the label here, I need to change the property of the label because there the system property what I have used is the label. So here I am setting it as SQL filter. Okay. And I go to the receiver. As I said, you need to change the subscription here. Let me go to this topic again and let me select this SQL filter. Okay, now it is ready. Let me go here and keep it ready when the message is received. Okay, now let me go to the Postman. Okay. Okay, filter, SQL filter. Okay, so now it is ready. If you refresh, you will have one message here. And ideally, it should receive the message in the other one as well, the receiver. Let us see the run history. It is succeeded in the 750. Yes, it is succeeded here. And the topic here is SQL filter. So in this way, the filter would act based on whatever you still, I mean, you still see the count as message count as 2 here, but here in the SQL filter, this would have already consumed. The reason being the other logic apps has already consumed. And that is the reason you are not seeing that SQL filter subscription. The message count in the SQL filter subscription is still 0. The reason as soon as the receiver sends the message to the sender sends the message to the receiver, logic apps has already consumed, right? And that is the reason here the message count is 0. Whereas here the the message still lies in the subscription, which is not consumed by any of the consumer, and that is the reason the message count is still 2 here. And now coming back to the queue. Queue, as I said, this is 1:1. So one topic, I mean one sender, one receiver. So here there is no field, I mean here there is no extra component called filter here. I mean the subscriber here. So it performs on a 1-to-1 basis. It is on a FIFO basis. So whatever the message you receives first, that will be processed here. So let me add this one here. How do I add the queue here? Let me go here. Service bus topic. Here it is a send message. Okay, here I can select the queue. So here I have created queue. In this last message, I have selected that queue. Send message queue. It is always a best practice to rename our steps properly, the actions properly, so that it enhances the readability. And just I will give the identifier session as a GUID. And here I will be sending the content here. The content will be the message from this output. Okay, and there will be another logic apps. For instance, here this will be the logic apps which does the message for the topic. Okay, if you want to have another logic apps, there will be one more trigger where it will be receiving the message from the queue. So that would automatically read. So now let me send this for queue. And let me execute this. If you go, you would see one execution in the run history, 753. It has sent a message to the queue. And if you go here, you would see something in the queue. This is already sent. Okay, QG demo. Okay. Yes, so this would be sent to the queue here, and it would take some time to refresh the count. After some time, this would come. Okay, so let me show after the end of this demo. So this would be sent because the execution is successful. So here the queue would have received the message. So it shows that the execution, the queue is already, the message is already sent to the queue here. The queue name is here, and this would be sent, the message would be sent to this queue. Okay, so now here we understood how this message, how this the service bus is using the logic apps we have integrated. So obviously, how do you send this message from the external application? For instance, if I want to send a message from F&O, how do you consume this? So let me go back to my environment here. This is using the business event. I am going to give you a quick connection here. So I will be using a business event where I will be consuming the topic from the Azure Service Bus. So here I have already created the endpoint. If you see, this is the endpoint which I have created. How do you create an endpoint? Here you have an option to select the service bus queue or the service bus topic. So here in this case, I have selected the service bus topic here, and this endpoint name can be anything. The topic name, what we need to give here is, if you remember the topic, what we have created here, this one, the topic. This topic is being mapped here, and the service bus SKU is the standard. And here we have created the Microsoft that app registration. So I have already created in my blog how to create an app registration. So you can use this app registration and the secret. And you should make sure that this app registration has access to that new service bus, the Azure Service Bus. Only then it will be able to access it. And the key vault, I have created a key vault as well. So what is the key vault? Let me go to the key vault. I have created a key vault here. This is a key vault, and the secret, what carries the secret? So the secret here is the connection string, primary connection string of the service bus. If you see, you will be able to see the connection string here. The connection string will be this one. So as I said, this primary connection string or the secondary connection string is connects the I mean from the authorizes the Azure service bus to the external system. So via this, if this connection string is not proper, then this connectivity will not work fine. So I will be giving this DNS name and the secret name. So the secret name here is this one. This is the secret, and which carries that the primary connection name here. And that's it. So this is how this with this endpoint, and you can activate the endpoint. For instance, here I have activated the endpoint, like whenever a free text invoice is posted, this will be automatically called. So let me show that to you, how to post, how it is called. Let me select some account. Let me select some main account and then post it. Let me post it. Click OK. And as soon as it is posted, you will find a message in the topic. So this is how the integration works. So how you are connecting the external system to the Logic Apps via Azure Service Bus. All this is can be easily done here using this small connectivity. How the app registration plays a role here. All this can be done. So in the topics, if you see against the subscription, the message count is earlier it was 3. Now it is increased to 4. So let us go and see the sender here, the run history. Okay, so this the receiver, yeah, it will be in the receiver. 753. So this had already sent a message here. So in that way, here you will be able to send the message from the Azure subscription from the FNO system to the Logic Apps here, which in turn sends the data to the particular subscription. And this completes our demo. And the key takeaways, just to give a quick recap of what are the key takeaways. So here we understood how the Azure Service Bus is created and what role the shared access policy plays here, because the shared access policy is the one which retrieves using the primary connection string, we will be able to connect the external application with service bus, because this is what the authorization plays a major role here. And we using the subscription, so we have created various subscription which does the filter and without filter, and how the filter works with CQL and a correlation filter we have learned here. And on top of it, here you will be understanding what is a correlation filter and what is how the service bus explorer, you can get the message from the service bus explorer, and how this is consumed, how it is automated from the D365 FNO, how the data is sent from D365 FNO to Azure Service Bus via Logic Apps. And this brings us to the end of the demo. If you have any questions, please let me know.
Thank you so much, Anita, for such an insightful session on Azure Logic Apps and using the service bus. And team, if you have any questions, feel free to unmute yourself and ask, or reach us on our social media. You have the Anita Ishwaran profile available in the LinkedIn, and you can also ask her as well. If you have anything here, we are happy to help. So there's a question from Pradeep. Can we connect service bus to Dynamics without Logic Apps?
Yes, you can connect. So that is where the connection string is working, right? So the reason why I have used logic apps is just to flow the data. So if you want to connect the parameters, what I have shown you, for instance, the topic name or the queue name and the primary connection string, which you will be sharing it in the secret, correct? So via that, you will be able to connect it. So this logic apps, I have just shown you how the data is flowing, but logic apps is not necessary to connect the Dynamics F1O with the Azure Service Bus. You can connect directly also. The kind of scenarios what we would usually, if you want to pass the messages, for instance, if you want for you take a topic of, take an example of topic and subscribers. You have created one topic and you have various subscribers. For instance, you want to update the stock for each warehouse, okay, and you can give a filter there. So when the Azure Service Bus is sending the update stock, then in that case it will be useful. Like for instance, each subscription will be receiving the particular stock for each warehouse. It is not necessary, you are not sending all the data to it. So during that scenarios where the message is being passed by filtering, then during that cases, then it will be useful. In the Postman, which endpoint, the endpoint which I have used is the HTTP endpoint. So for instance, if you remember, maybe like I can show that to you again. Let me share my screen quickly. Okay, so here I will go to the logic apps and here the sender. The endpoint which I have used here is this HTTP request endpoint. This is the URL I have used to trigger from Postman. So here, since I have purposely, I have not defined any body because this is dynamic where you can send any type of messages to it. So this is the URL which I have used from this particular HTTP URL. This is a request HTTP request received connector here. So with that, you will be able to configure it.
Anuj has question on in Postman, which endpoint you use to trigger the LA?
That is what I showed you, right? Like,
Okay, yeah.
so that is the endpoint which I have used.
Okay, perfect. Any more questions, team? And thank you so much, everyone, for taking your time over the weekend and joining our session. And thank you so much, Anita, for giving us time. And we are happy to reach you anytime for any session within our user group. And I love the things what you do for the community, and your blogs are very hit that I no need to explain. And that's why you can see the traction with audience is there. So
Great,
URL
thanks.
is of D365F&O.
It is not the URL of D365F1O, Tanuj. It is the URL which we have in the logic apps, right? So via that, I have triggered by the Postman. So if you remember, I have the initial trigger point in the logic apps, HTTP web request. So that carries the URL for you. So via that, I am able to connect to this one here from the Postman here. So without business event, any other approaches that can be taken for integration with the service bus and dynamics? So see, usually if you want to communicate something from F1O, that is via the events, correct? So you are sending something out from F1O. So usually that will be via the business event. Otherwise, on top of it, if you want to use any custom services, even that also you can use it. You can build your own custom service and send the data from F1O. So since this is already a standard, it is out of box available, right? The business event and also we would prefer this business event. The other approach can be the custom one here.
And as already discussed, we have this big announcement that we are coming up with the AI Copilot Summit face-to-face event in Dubai. It will be in UAE. Please follow our social media for the further updates on this event. We'll release the calendar and invite for the speakers, also for the attendees soon.
Okay, there is one question. The one which you showed is like the outbound from Dynamics, how we can handle the inbound integrations. So you have various options to handle the inbound integration. One is via OData. Okay, so OData is like a real time where you will be sending the data. It will immediately reflect that it is a synchronous one. So if you want to have any asynchronous communication, asynchronous integration, then what you need to do, you need to use something called as NQ. So maybe I can share you the link what is NQ integration here, where you will be creating a DM of out inbound project and you will be setting up a recurring job there. So using this is called as NQ in FNO. So using NQ, you will be sending the message to FNO and it will be processed as a batch here. So you can either use it, that is a asynchronous process. So if you want a synchronous process, then you need to use that OData service. But obviously that will have some or other limitation. So based on your requirement, you need to decide whether you want a OData approach or a NQ approach. Did it answer your question, Abardeep? Thank you. And thank you so much for taking your time in spite of your busy schedule over the weekend. Thank you, Venkatesh. Thanks for giving me an opportunity to share the knowledge. Because of this, even every session is a learning for us, right? So even for me, be it a host or a
Yes.
presenter, it is a learning for us. So thanks for giving me an opportunity again.
Thank you so much, Anita. Thanks, everyone. Have a nice weekend ahead.
Have
See
a
you all
good
in the next
weekend.
session. Bye.
Thank you all. Bye.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.